Hi guys, in-depth movie highlights tapping in with another one. Before we start, warning. Spoilers ahead. Today I'm gonna explain a 2020 Chinese thrilling wuxia movie called Tai Chi Hero. In mainland China, Yuan Dynasty, the leader of the Asura sect, gathers all his followers to announce important discoveries. He shows the mysterious black Tai Chi box, containing the Asura elixir inside it which they believe would give them the incomparable power to conquer the entire territory. As the followers drink the elixir, two renowned Tai Chi fighters, Zhang and Yan, interrupt and accuse Yuan Dynasty of giving the fake elixir to his followers. Shortly after, the followers begin to feel excruciating pain, proving that Yuan Dynasty indeed feeds them with poisonous liquid. Yan suddenly attacks the leader of the sect with her sword, while Zhang attempts to eliminate the emergent Asura's guards. After that, he helps Yan fight Yuan Dynasty with bare hands and eventually manages to defeat him with the Tai Chi power. The pair successfully retrieve the black box and Zhang tells Yan to bring it to her master, as it'll cause a huge war if it falls into wrong hands. Turns out that the battle is not finished. The poison master named Wan rings his bell which turns the dying followers into zombies. He tries to fight them but eventually gets infected by the poison and has to be rescued by Master Chu. Meanwhile in Fuxi village, Yan runs in a hurry to report to the Fire Dragon Master about the Asura sect incident. She then hands over the Tai Chi box to him, who seems frightened because he realizes that the box is fake and immediately suggests all the villagers leave the village. The Fire Dragon Master explains that Yuan Dynasty purposely lets her leave so that she could lead them into the Fuxi village, where the real Tai Chi box is being kept. As predicted, a group of Asura fighters, led by Yuan Dynasty, arrive at the village to seize the real box. They negotiate, but the master refuses to give the box, so Wan rings his bell again and the big fight between Asura sect and Fuxi villagers is inevitable. Realizing that they cannot win the battle, the master brings Yan to his house and hides in a room where he reveals that the Asura's followers have turned into blood rakshasas, a type of demon. He also explains to Yan about the origin of the box. Once upon a time, three masters fought together to exterminate blood rakshasas and the sacred scripture was divided into two, one containing beast technique and the latter half containing immortal sutra, which is kept until today in the Tai Chi box. They decided to burn all the scripture, but unfortunately one of the masters, Xiuluomu, had an evil plan, keeping the beast technique to himself and burning the fake scripture to deceive the others. Afterwards, the master gives the real box to Yan, telling her to bring it to the Dragon Gate sect to find a man who can open it. Soon, the Asura sect appears in the room. The Fire Dragon Master has to face all the fighters alone. He manages to give a tough battle, but eventually Bao, the leader of Heavenly State, who is also the descendant of Xiuluomu, shows up and kills the master with his signature sword move. Master Chu, the leader of Dragon Gate sect, tries to remove the poison from Zhang's body with his power, but he is unable to cure him as it's an unusual poison. Qing is worried about his husband's condition, but Chu cannot do much about it. Not long after, Yan arrives and tells the master in tears that Fuxi village has been destroyed. Master Chu explains that the immortal sutra inside the box can't fall to the Asura sect. Because the box is indestructible, they must find a spell to open the box. He orders Zhang and Yan to find Xiuluomu, the only person that can open the box, and destroy the scripture immediately. Furthermore, Chu mentions that Zhang must go to Master Hu first before the poison spreads throughout the body. Meanwhile, it seems like someone is eavesdropping on them from outside. A few moments later, the village is ambushed by Asura sect fighters who ruthlessly slaughter innocent villagers. Inside the house, Zhang, Yan, and Qing are forced to flee while Master Chu will buy time by challenging Yuan Dynasty in a duel. The sword fight ensues, with Master Chu manages to dodge several slashes from Yuan Dynasty, even sometimes he manages to land some good strikes towards the Asura's leader. Unfortunately, Yuan Dynasty plays dirty, using this opportunity to stab the master to death. On the other hand, the trio is being chased by the guard until they are cornered. Another battle ensues. Zhang is still able to perform a decent Tai Chi skill, despite his condition getting worse. In the middle of the fight, Qing is attacked by a guard and ends up falling off the cliff. Shortly after, Yuan Dynasty joins the fight and eliminates Yan with his sword. Left with no option as his partner is also killed, Zhang becomes hopeless, so he decides to jump with the black box. That night, Zhang is found by a young monk named Jia. He finds out that Zhang's still alive and decides to bring the body with him. At the same time, Dongjun discovers a lady's body on the lake. Meanwhile, Bao's health is deteriorating. Because he already has the beast technique scripture in his possession, he must find the Tai Chi box as soon as possible before it's too late. The following day, Zhang, who is in a very weak condition, regains his consciousness and asks the monk about the Butterfly Valley. On their way, they come across a very skilled swordswoman called Long. They are amazed by how she defeats all the Asura's fighters effortlessly. Back to the samurai, it turns out the lady he rescued is Ching. However, she seems to have lost her memory. Zhang and the others eventually arrive at the Butterfly Valley where Long admits that her father was killed by the Poison Master and she's now seeking revenge. Asura's fighters suddenly appear, attacking the trio. Long and Zhang fight them, while the monk is just watching from behind a rock like a cheerleader. He then eventually gets hit by a fighter's body, causing him to fall into a well. Zhang and Long decide to follow him. They end up stranded inside an underground room. Soon, Master Hu appears and immediately sniffs Zhang's body, claiming that he's familiar with the poison smell. After a long conversation, the old man is willing to cure Zhang, but on one condition, that is he must kill the Poison Master. Zhang agrees to the term, so Master Hu immediately performs a healing technique towards his body. After that, the poison is fully eradicated and now Zhang has to fulfill his promise. They then continue their journey to find Xiuluomu. However, Zhang believes that his wife is still alive, thus they decide to stop in a town for a moment. On the other hand, Ching is getting closer to Dongjun. The samurai reveals that he travels across nations in search of the best martial arts fighter, and then intends to battle them. He mentions Zhang, who is considered one of the best fighters in China, but Ching seems clueless about the name. Back to the trio. The monk accidentally finds a warrant from Heavenly State which offers a huge bounty for Zhang's head. After that, Zhang is confronted by the royal troops. They attempt to arrest him, but he manages to defeat all of them and eventually decide to leave the city. When they embark, Zhang accidentally sees Ching from a distance, but Jia and Long convince him that she's not her, as she gives no reaction at all towards him. In the forest, Zhang asks the monk whether he knows about a man named Xiuluomu. To his surprise, he admits that Xiuluomu is actually his master, which makes Zhang very relieved. Shortly after, Dongjun appears, challenging Zhang in a duel to prove who's the best in martial arts. He rejects the challenge, but the samurai keeps insisting to fight the man. Zhang promises to fight him after he finishes with his stuff. He asks Dongjun about the girl beside him, but the samurai tells him that her name is Sakura, not Ching. When Dongjun returns to his house, he finds a letter revealing that Ching has been kidnapped and he must tell Zhang to bring Tai Chi's box to Heavenly State, or they will hurt her. Dongjun immediately runs back to the trio, handing Zhang the letter while telling them that he found Ching, who lost her memory, from the river and now her life is at risk. The next day, the monk leads them to Xiuluomu. Upon arriving, they explain everything to the master. After confirming that Zhang's worthy enough for the spell to unlock the box, he writes the spell on Zhang's palm. The monk decides to stay with his master, so Zhang and Long immediately walk back to the city to rescue Ching. At some point they stop and Zhang attempts to open the box with the spell. After the Tai Chi box is successfully opened, Yun Ting suddenly shows up. Turns out that Long is working for him all this time. She steals the box and admits that she has memorized the spell. As they leave, Zhang is attacked by the fighters, but he manages to defeat all of them easily. Long and Yun Ting return to Heavenly State where they hand over the Immortal Sutra to Bao. As he begins to master the scripture, Bao orders his subordinates to defend the place from Zhang. Few hours later, Zhang arrives at the palace to save Ching, who has regained her memory after getting her head knocked earlier. As they refuse to release Ching, Zhang decides to fight the whole army single-handedly. He manages to defeat all the fighters without getting injured at all. The Poison Master then begins to ring his bells again, summoning the blood Rakshasas to kill Zhang. Despite the zombies being more violent and fast, it's not a big deal for Zhang. Lastly, Long and Yun Ting intervene in the fight as they're the remaining fighters. Even though it's a 2 versus 1 battle, Zhang is still very strong for them and he manages to defeat them with his signature Tai Chi move. At the same time, Dongjun also shows up to rescue Ching. The Poison Master attempts to blow poisonous powder on him, but he blocks them, causing the powder to backfire on him. Unfortunately, Ching does not recognize him anymore, so he leaves in sadness. After a while, Bao, who has mastered Beast Technique and Immortal Sutra, finally comes out to test his ability. Zhang initially has a hard time fighting him, but later Dongjun returns to assist him. The battle continues where Zhang and the samurai take turns to attack Bao. However, they can't do much as the foe is significantly stronger compared to them. Zhang suddenly remembers the advice given from Master Xiuluomu, then he performs a yin-yang technique to attack the leader of Heavenly State, which effectively injures him. He eventually dies after realizing that he's not immortal yet. After that, they get into the palace, finding the Poison Master who later dies of his own poison. The men subsequently approach Ching, but she chooses Zhang instead of the samurai, leaving him in disappointment. Months later, Zhang and Dongjun meet again to prove who's the best fighter in the world. Subscribe to watch more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.